"Pastor, I'm pregnant," she said, looking down. "What do you mean?" Pastor Daniel's face changed. "You can't be pregnant. That would ruin everything." He felt trapped. Sarah begged him for help, but instead of comforting her, he became angry. "We can't have a baby. You know what we must do," he shouted, his eyes full of rage. Sarah cried. She didn't want to hurt the baby. But Pastor Daniel made her believe that it was for the best. He took her to a dark room, where bad things happened. In a big city called Lagos, Nigeria, there was a church called Faith and Joy Ministry. The church was very popular, and many people came every Sunday. They believed the pastor, Pastor Daniel, was a holy man who could perform real miracles. People would shout hallelujah and dance happily when they saw him. Pastor Daniel looked like a good man. He wore nice suits and had a big smile. However, he had a dark secret. He was not just a pastor, he was also involved in bad things. He wanted power and money more than anything else. To keep his church strong, he made fake miracles. He would pretend to heal people and do wonderful things. People would clap, and many would believe in him even more. Little did they know that Pastor Daniel was lying. One day, a young woman named Sarah joined the church. She was shy but eager to help. Pastor Daniel saw how pretty Sarah was, and he liked her a lot. He called her over and said, "You will work closely with me, my dear." Sarah smiled, feeling special. She didn't know about Pastor Daniel's true nature. As the days went by, Pastor Daniel and Sarah became very close. He would praise her in front of everyone, making her feel important. But he also wanted more. One night, after a long meeting at the church, he invited Sarah to his office. "Let's work late tonight, Sarah," he said, looking into her eyes. "I need your help for a special project." Sarah felt excited but nervous. She thought it was just about the church. When she entered his office, the lights were dim. Pastor Daniel was charming and softly talked to her. Soon, he kissed her, and Sarah felt lost. She didn't know that he was taking advantage of her trust. Their relationship continued in secret. They would meet at night, and Pastor Daniel promised Sarah that he loved her. But his love was not real, it was part of his plan. After a few months, Sarah found out she was pregnant. She was scared and confused. She didn't know who to tell. Pastor Daniel had told her not to speak about their relationship. She went to see him, her hands shaking. "Pastor, I'm pregnant," she said, looking down. "What do you mean?" Pastor Daniel's face changed. "You can't be pregnant. That would ruin everything." He felt trapped. Sarah begged him for help, but instead of comforting her, he became angry. "We can't have a baby. You know what we must do," he shouted, his eyes full of rage. Sarah cried. She didn't want to hurt the baby. But Pastor Daniel made her believe that it was for the best. He took her to a dark room, where bad things happened. He thought if he got rid of the baby, no one would find out his secret. After Sarah, two other church workers, Mary and Bella, discovered they were pregnant too. Just like Sarah, they were frightened and went to see Pastor Daniel. They didn't know Sarah's fate. Pastor Daniel was furious. He couldn't let any of them ruin his reputation. He called them into his office one by one. "You are pregnant," he asked them, pretending to be worried. "We can't let anyone find out. You know what to do." Mary and Bella agreed out of fear. They didn't understand Pastor Daniel was manipulating them. One dark night, he took the three girls to a hidden place. He thought it was safe, and no one would know what he did. But he was wrong. One of the girls would survive to tell the truth. After the terrible night, Sarah was left alive but broken. She was scared and alone. She finally realized how Pastor Daniel had tricked her and the others. She knew she needed to survive and find the truth. When she left the dark place, she swore to herself that she would confront Pastor Daniel. She would not let him continue hurting innocent girls. After days of hiding, Sarah gathered her courage and went back to the church. The church was buzzing with people praising Pastor Daniel. But Sarah knew better. She walked straight to the altar, where Pastor Daniel was preaching. As Sarah stood before the crowd, her heart pounded. The people were shocked to see her. Pastor Daniel's face turned pale when he saw her. "What are you doing here?" he hissed, trying to keep his voice calm. "I'm here to tell the truth," Sarah shouted. "You are a liar, and you hurt me and the others." The crowd began to murmur, confused about what she was saying. Pastor Daniel quickly tried to take control. "Don't listen to her. She is just a confused girl." But Sarah held her ground. "I know about the other girls. You killed them because of your lies." The people began to look uneasy. They loved Pastor Daniel but didn't know what Sarah was saying was true. Sarah took a deep breath and said, "I have proof. I found others who were hurt like me." She shared everything she had gone through and explained how Pastor Daniel had tricked everyone into believing his fake miracles. Some church members cried. They started to understand that the man they thought was holy was actually evil. One brave woman stood up and said, "I will help you, Sarah. We need to tell everyone." Pastor Daniel panicked. He tried to flee, but the members formed a circle around him. They wanted answers. "You cannot escape your lies, Pastor," they shouted. Finally, the police arrived, having received calls about the disturbance. They listened to Sarah's story and took Pastor Daniel into custody. He was scared and realized that he had lost everything. Days turned into weeks, and the story of Pastor Daniel spread throughout the city. People were shocked to learn the truth about the so-called holy man. The church community was broken-hearted, but they also felt relief that they had found the truth. Healing would take time. Meanwhile, Sarah felt free for the first time. She knew that she had done the right thing by confronting Pastor Daniel. Her bravery had helped many other girls come forward. They shared their stories, and together, they found healing. As for Pastor Daniel, he faced the consequences of his actions. He couldn't fool anyone anymore. The people had turned their backs on him, and the mirror cracked, revealing the truth. Sarah and the other girls began new lives. They supported each other and turned their pain into strength. Sarah decided to start a new group for girls who had been hurt. They called it Healing Hearts. They met every week and would share their stories, laugh, and cry together. They learned that they were not alone and that their strength came from within. As for the church, it took time to rebuild. The new pastor focused on love and truth. He welcomed everyone, and slowly, the community healed. Together, they worked to ensure that nothing like that would ever happen again. Years passed, and Sarah became a strong advocate for others. She shared her story everywhere. People listened, and many thanked her for her courage. She felt proud, knowing that her pain had a purpose. She had turned darkness into light. The world saw her as a hero, not just a victim. Pastor Daniel's name became a warning. People warned others to be careful of those who claimed to have power without truth. And so, the story of Sarah and the fallen pastor became a lesson for many, reminding everyone that truth always overcomes lies. So if you like my stories, do me a favor by kindly subscribing to this channel, like this video and share this video. God bless you all.